Turn that volume up. You know you want it. It's time for Women's Basketball TV with former NCAA champion, WNBA champion, business mogul, and national TV personality, Fran Harris.
Listen, there's only one move here. There's only one move. Caitlin Clark is getting dangerously close to Kelsey Plum's 3,527 points, which is an NCAA record for women's basketball. Caitlin Clark will get to 3,528 fairly quickly, probably in the next week or so. The problem with that is that Kelsey Plum does not hold the all-time leading record in terms of scoring for women's basketball. She's only leading for as long as women have played in the NCAA's governing body system. The real record for women's basketball scorers all time, regardless of which governing body you're playing under, is Lynette Woodard, who played at the University of Kansas. She has 3,649 points. All-time leading scorer since women have been playing the sport. Lynette Woodard has the most points. That's the record that Caitlin Clark should be chasing. So let's talk about why this hasn't happened yet and why there are only a few moves that can be made to make this right. Number one, there is no dispute. There is no discrepancy. There's no conflict whatsoever. Lynette Woodard has 3,649 points, period. It is the record for women's basketball, which is what we should be talking about. So why haven't we made this right? I have absolutely no idea why the NCAA does a lot of the things the NCAA does. This one being the latest. They made it right for the guys. It's just another situation where the NCAA has been like, they're just women. We don't really care about that. This is just the women. That's how the NCAA treated women's basketball and women's sports in general at the beginning. From the beginning, from its inception. By the way, if you haven't seen the documentary Giant Killers on ESPN about the University of Texas, you need to check it out. You will be completely informed. You will have a PhD in the NCAA and how it has operated over the last 9 decades or however long it's been in existence. So listen up. It is not shocking that the NCAA has not made this right, but it is disappointing. It is another example of how little regard they have for women's sports. And here is a classic opportunity for a great player in Caitlin Clark, who will ultimately eclipse Lynette's record. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But why hasn't the NCAA just stopped all this madness and said, listen, time out. Time out. We need to fix this. Caitlin's not chasing Kelsey Plum's record. She's actually chasing Lynette Woodard's. The NCAA is not known for doing the right thing at the right time. The NCAA is known for eventually coming around to doing the right thing after they have succumbed to pressure. This ain't even that much pressure, y'all. It's numbers. And if we're going to do this the right way, then the NCAA needs to kibosh this conversation about Caitlin getting ready to become the all-time leading scorer in women's basketball history. Now, they are correct. She will become the all-time leading scorer in NCAA women's basketball history. But there will be an asterisk beside her name. And I know those who love her. And trust me, I am one of those who loves her game. I am not religious about players, but I do respect and love players' games. And Caitlin is one of those. But she will have an asterisk next to her name. And she will not be the all-time leading scorer in women's basketball history, only in NCAA basketball history. Only in women's basketball, only in NCAA women's basketball history. This needs to get fixed. This needs to get fixed. So why hasn't the NCAA done anything? Well, that's the question for the ages. That's absolutely the question for the ages. And I'm going to go on record as saying part of the reason I believe the NCAA is not being more aggressive about this change is because most of us believe Caitlin Clark will come out this season. Most of us know that. If Caitlin Clark does not leave the University of Iowa after the 2024 season, I will be shocked. I have gone on the record very early as saying this will be her last season. I don't think she really should come back. But I'm not Caitlin Clark. This is her decision, but that is my professional opinion. However, it's almost like there's a way that people like the story to unfold. There's a way that the media wants the story to unfold. And it would be a glorious, this is the media talking, it would be a glorious swan song and an opportunity if Caitlin Clark comes out of the University of Iowa in 2024 and she's the all-time leading scorer. What a great story we get to write about. What are all these features we get to write about? We get to hail this player as the greatest ever. And we can only do that if she's the all-time leading scorer when she graduates from the University of Iowa. You know what I have to say about that? We should not be in the business of orchestrating stories so that they fit our narrative of what we want to happen and what we want to see happen. It's not fair to the players who are playing the game, and it's not fair to the game. Therefore, this nonsense about wanting this to be this perfect storybook ending for Caitlin Clark's career, not a fan of that at all. This is why we play the game. This is why certain things are just what they are. And Lynette Woodard's 3,649 points, almost 4,000 points in an era that didn't even have a three-point line. Come on. Not fair. It wouldn't have been fair to Kelsey Plum. Wouldn't have been fair to anybody. It's not fair to the players who came before Caitlin, and it's not fair to the players who come after Caitlin. Make it right. This is absolutely, as my British friends say, this is rubbish. It's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. When it's so easy to do the right thing. This is what gets me about our society. There are some things they're just right and they are just wrong. It doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democratic, Independent, black, white, red, white, and blue, came from California or the depths of the South. It doesn't matter. Some things are just right and some things are just wrong. And this is a situation where it's just wrong not to consider the entire body of women's basketball work when you're talking about the all-time leading scorer in our game. Now, the precedent has been set with the men's game. If they had not done that with the men's basketball game, I wouldn't be making this video. Right? Because I would say that's the NCAA's policy. They never do this. They have put their name in the sand as saying, we are not going to acknowledge any other leagues when it's time to think about our all-time leading scorers. If they had made that as a precedent, I wouldn't even be making this video. I would be complaining that it doesn't make sense. But if the NCAA has said this is our policy and we are not going to change it, we're not changing it for men, we're not changing it for women, then okay, fine. All right, that's the way it goes. We're going to roll with that. But the fact that they didn't, in their fashion, in true NCAA fashion, they did what was right for the men, but won't do what's right for the women. I don't even care who we're talking about right now. I could put 3 different players on the screen right now. It's not about Caitlin Clark. This is bigger than Caitlin Clark. And I wish people would understand that. This is bigger than Kelsey Plum. This is bigger than Lynette Woodard. This is about the game that we love. And we must demand that people do the right thing and do right by our game. Period, point, turn the page, done with it. So what's your thought? Who should Caitlin be chasing? The 35-27 or the 36-49? Let's hear it.
Thanks for tuning in to Women's Basketball TV with Fran Harris. the most provocative and entertaining women's basketball show on earth. Be sure to click that like, share, and notification button so you don't miss a moment. We'll see you tomorrow.